So you just didn't like corporate America? That wasn't your thing?
No, corporate America. I have no issues with corporate America. I had a knack for doing my own thing. I love the idea of building something from the ground up and taking all the tools that I learned from corporate America and applying them to a business model. So I actually am not one of those people that's like exit corporate America. I'm like, take the tools of corporate America, and if you want to be an entrepreneur, use those tools. And because I've worked at very high end companies that have helped my resume. I'll go for an interview and I'm like, all I got to do is put Nordstrom on my resume, and they're like, oh, she's hired. Just because they know.
There's a lot that you can learn from the process of a big company that I think a lot of people eliminate because they're like, oh, big business, whatever. And I'm just like, yeah, but like, there's something impressive that
you figured something out.
I mean, I will talk about the Mac Shack again, or you could talk about Chick-fil-A or something like that. Let's talk about a non-food option. Any big company, just whatever they've been able to do has been it's impressive to see that they can have tens of thousands, in some cases millions of employees that roll through. I mean, there's something special about that. And I think a lot of companies, they wonder why they don't see the growth that they want. And I think it's because they don't establish and appreciate some of the process that big companies have figured out. And that's what I think a lot of other
reason that people pay the price to stay at a Ritz-Carlton versus a Hojo or something.
Motel 6.
I've never been to a Motel 6. Actually, you know what? I believe I have been at a Motel 6. I think it's the hotel that I stayed at off of Airline
that turned you into a germaphobe?
Okay. You want to hear this ridiculous story? How Zack got to the 757? You want to hear the story? Do you want to or no?
Fire away.
Okay, so I have a journalism degree from the West Virginia University. I applied to like 17 jobs a day. I grew up in Northern Virginia, Washington, D.C. area. I applied to a place down here for a job that I probably shouldn't have been able to get. But the hiring manager at the time, Kevin Rafferty, he happened to have ties to Morgantown, which is where WVU is. And I sent in the resume, and he was like, today might be your lucky day. Can you come in for, an interview tomorrow or something? I'm like, yeah, I guess I can. Yeah, I'm sure I suited up. I'm very sure I wore something suity.
Zack doesn't wear suits.
Well, at the time I was trying to be on air, so you would wear a suit, I guess. Yeah. So I had like 2 or 3 suits.
Your LinkedIn profile shows otherwise.
Am I wearing a suit in that?
You're wearing it's a shirt and tie.
I gotta look at that. But I was like, okay, where am I gonna stay? I had no money. Norfolk was too expensive, like $300 a night, and I was like, fine. And then so I was like, okay, well, where else is there to go? And the guy goes, oh, well, go to Portsmouth or something like that. And I was like, okay. So I remember Googling like Portsmouth, and I could never P-O-R-T Smith, S-M-I-T-H is how I kept trying to find it. Obviously, it's spelled Portsmouth. And then finally, I found this like Motel 6, Econo Lodge, something like that. And it was like $39 a night, the Zack Miller special, only to find out that, like there's like ridiculous things that go on at this hotel. My banker now from Town Bank has told me, he's like, I can't believe you stay in that place. Like it's literally like where all the bad stuff happens. Like there's anything that you could think that would be bad in this kind of situation there. But that's where I stayed the first night.
It's basically a brothel.
Among other things, yes. There's some sort of violence. There's the brothel aspect of it. There's just randomness. And so they offered me the job, and I took it. And that's my my Portsmouth story of the hotel. And whatever. I mean, I don't know why we wasted 4 minutes on that. It's a terrible story. I apologize. So, okay. So you learned a lot of process from corporate America. You did the catering thing. You're vegan throughout all of this?
Yeah, or no? That's what I was curious.
So I became vegan in 2014. Well, 2015 really. 2014 was when I dabbled in it, and then 2015. Throughout that time, I really just kind of decided who I wanted to be on that vegan journey and, listen to my body. I did become radical in the beginning, and then I started to kind of let up and not have so much pressure on myself. I just kind of flexed and allowed myself to grow into the lifestyle. Mm-hmm.
So you opened up. I want to sequence this properly, but I'm curious, and I know that I'm going to forget this question, but so like, is your market segment, is it for the hardcore vegan people, or is it for people that you want to introduce to a vegan lifestyle, or is it both?
Okay, it's both, but I have a degree in communication. I'm all about the social aspect of dining and going out to eat. I am all about the social aspect of any space. And so what I sought to do is build a social space for people to come and enjoy delicious plant-based food. So yes and no. I wanted to kind of focus on the human side of veganism, opposed to the protests of veganism. I want enjoyment. I want connections. I want people to have a deeper understanding of each other.
Because you had opened originally in a smaller location, similar area to the Kemps River where you are now, but it was piggybacked off of an art studio,
we were inside of an art gallery. And which really,
that was 5 years ago, probably, right?
So we opened that in 2018. So we're going on 4 years of being in business.
Gotta do my math.
We're going on 4 years. So technically I established the LLC in January of 2018 and opened in July of 2018. So
you learn a lot in that process of because I think a lot of people are like, I just got to build the greatest environment ever. I got to build the greatest location ever. That's what I got to do. And you went super small, and now you're in your own location. Looking back, was that the right move? What did you learn from that type of thing? What are your just overall kind of thoughts on maybe even an MVP if we're talking about super startup-y words on from a restaurant perspective?
Ooh, man, I don't regret a single drop of the journey that it took to get to where I'm at now. So I consider my last space an incubator space, because that's kind of what it was. Is we were a test model. We were trying to see, okay, is this going to work? And is this what people want? And we blew it out the water. We were 300 square feet. We worked off of kitchen appliances and a bunch of auction equipment that I found. We built out the back space to accommodate kitchen area, and I drove up to Maryland to pick up sinks and different things that I just found to be really less expensive. Yes. I started in total. I started that space with about $5,000. Of savings that I had from when I quit my job. I was like, all right, I'm just going to save this money and we're just going to work through it. And I used that.
That's really cheap for opening, a restaurant, if you will, right? I mean, most people would say you need at least $100,000 to do that. You could do it for.
They scare you into believing you can't start with.
Was there a hood in there? Did you need a hood? I mean, because
I didn't need a hood system because we weren't doing anything with grease. So the thing is I knew that I needed to start somewhere. And if I continued to scare myself into believing that I needed to start like everybody else, then I was going to continue to put it off, or I was going to get discouraged, or I was going to put myself into a financial hole that was going to be really hard to get out of. And so I had to kind of, I didn't have any pride really, but if I had any, it was put to the side so that I could just start. And when I start and I can get the paperwork and I can get the paper trail and the tax returns and the show of growth and all that, I can at least move into the next steps of what, of what I wanted to do. But in the meantime, I just focused on doing a bang up job of socializing with people, where we lacked in space, we made up for in service and in connections. So people would come in and sit for hours. People would call me and be like, hey, I'm riding by, but I can't stop because I'm going to get stuck. And that was the environment, was that people could come. And I still, to this day, there are people who have made connections. They come into, into new culture, and they're like, yo, what's up? Like, it's good to see you. I haven't seen you since the last, since old culture. And, they'll end up sitting down and talking and catching up. And so, we had 4 red chairs, and that's what people sat in and would be there all day. We open at like 8. There will be people who come in at 8 and wouldn't leave till we closed because of the social aspect.
So you hit this first part where you got the equipment. At what point did menu come into play to determine how many different menu items you were going to have?
Oh yeah, and sequence.
Yeah.
So I needed to find something, a menu item that we could be highlighted for. And I had tripped up on a good, I do it through trial and error. I tripped up on a good pancake recipe. And I was like, let me try this in the waffle iron. Tried it in the waffle iron, and it hit right away. So we put that on the menu, and we said, okay, well, with this waffle, we can do a bunch of different toppings. So I came up with some different gourmet toppings, and then, of course, a customized topping. And then I said I just need about 3 to 4 kind of lunchy items. And we went from there. So I had about a total of 6 items. And then we had coffee and tea as well. And with the coffee and tea, I actually ordered a Breville, which is a home espresso machine, because we didn't have the electric capacity to accommodate a regular espresso machine.
So there's a place in Norfolk, Ghent area called Handsome Biscuit. Owner is John Porter. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of it or been there. He also had created that Field Guide business restaurant in downtown across from the new assembly space many, many years ago. And I remember talking to him before about this, and I was like, so Handsome Biscuit, it's a sweet potato biscuit joint, right? That's the basis of what it is. And it's very easy to vocalize that. And I think from what you just said, from the waffle perspective, it's very easy to vocalize that. He said, so when he had opened Field Guide, I said, so what's Field Guide? And he goes, I don't know. It's really hard to vocalize. It's really hard to figure out because it was all over the place. There was this, there was that, there was this, there was that. That's a bigger issue, I think, from a branding perspective than people give it kind of the necessity to. And so I think that's a really positive thing, that you could just say, look, we're a vegan joint, and I get that, but what do you sell? Waffles is probably the first thing that comes out of your mouth, right? And so you go to a different place. The first thing that came into my mind was Buffalo Wild Wings, right? Like they're clearly chicken wings, right? That's what I should have said. Dirty Buffalo, they're a wing joint, right? It matters, because when people are like, well, where should we go? And if they can't resonate with the food that's there, even if the experience is, amazing, they're going to be like, well, I don't know what it is. And they'll probably punt off of that, go into a concept like that. So kudos to you for figuring that out by happenstance, if you will, by just throwing it in the waffle thing. So you don't use eggs. You're a total vegan joint. Like is this proprietary information? Can you tell us how you make the waffles?
The ingredients are proprietary, but we make them with 5 ingredients, and they're all healthy. One ingredient that we use, that we do tell people, is that we use spelt flour, which is an ancient grain that is really good for your digestive system. So it's a healthy waffle. And again, we use all clean ingredients for
What's another one of the ingredients?
Baking soda.
I'm trying.
How, from a price standpoint, is it more expensive to have a vegan waffle versus an IHOP Waffle House waffle?
I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know.
I'm looking that up right now.
I believe, I believe that we are comparable. I do know that they use a premix and we make our waffle batter from scratch. So there's a chance that our consistency, and when you come in for a waffle, sometimes it might be a little more crispy, sometimes it might be a little bit more thicker, or and we do work on consistency. Like that's a really big part of our our I guess growth model, is to just maintain consistency. But we are still small and we are still doing a lot of things by hand. So you're going to get that
Sure.
experience of
And well, the reason I ask is just like, I mean, you have Impossible Meats or healthy options. People are willing to pay much more than the unhealthy option. But then at the same token, it's always really crazy in the sense of how cheap it is to eat so unhealthy. And you just have to figure out as a business owner, hey, this is the direction I want to go in. This is my market. This is who I'm marketing to, and onward. So it sounds like that is what you have done.
It looks like it's about $1 more, you guys, compared to
we do. So our target market is 18 to 44. And within that target market, we try to pay attention to the demographics. And so we do try to keep our prices affordable. Some places, in my personal opinion, some vegan places will crank the prices up. And it almost feels unethical to me, because I want to make sure that people can enjoy quality food at a reasonable price and not based on a trend. Because if we really want to
avocado toast doesn't have to be $17,000. Is that what you're telling me?
Right. Our avocado toast is $9, and we have we ain't got an award for it yet, but we got some award-winning avocado toast. Okay. I mean, people come in there and they're like, what? I mean, because we make our avocado mix. We put this tofu scramble on it. That's not, it's made with pumpkin seed. So it's soy-free tofu scramble. And we fix it up and we put our own coconut bacon on it, and it's amazing. I personally don't eat avocado, but I came up with the recipe, so I have to kind of and it's good. The flavor is there and people love it.
Have you heard of coconut bacon, Tim?
Yes. No. Yes, we make our own coconut bacon.
I've never heard of that.
Yeah, it's delicious. People ask us to put it in little containers so that they can just eat it like a snack.
Okay, so that's interesting. Like, are there like little like the food tchotchkes or things like things for people to buy from that perspective? Have you done that aspect of it yet to like make money afterwards, or is it just like kind of the dining experience at your traditional restaurant?
We're getting there. The reason why there's some things that we have not implemented is because one, we were in that first year of transition, and the pivot happened so fast that I didn't quite grasp how everything, all the extra money outside of ordering and things like that looked, until I got staffing right, because we, of course, y'all know we're in a whole staffing situation right now. And so I had some staffing issues. And before I started to put too much on our plate, I wanted to make sure that I had a solid game plan for my staff. Okay. Am I going to hire someone to just come in and prep to-go items to put in the fridge? Am I just going to hire someone to do juicing? Am I just going to? So, what is the front line going to do? So I just had to figure all that out. Because we do hire micro entrepreneurs, I also had to figure out how I'm going to support them and also make sure that Culture has their branded stuff to sell as well. So it's just a lot that goes into my model, because I am looking at a more progressive model. So I am doing the slow and steady kind of growth.
It looks like coconut bacon, Tim, is based off of coconut flakes that then are kind of like similar to if you were to make your own granola. Is kind of how I would.
Which we do
Your
too. We
home
make
office, socially distanced coffee shop, or your fancy, all bricked out corner office, wondering why no one can see your business and sales are all over the place? Sounds like you need a pro. That's why I developed the Anomaly Academy. Insert clever copy here. Oh, I guess I was supposed to put something else there. Oops. You can grab access to the Anomaly Academy now at ZachMillerSays.com/Anomaly Academy.